So I have been doing self-employment and driving jobs, good morning, for almost probably about 6 years now. And a couple pieces of advice, whether you're running DoorDash, Spark, deliveries of medical kind, whatever, Amazon Flex, uh, whatever else you can think of. But here's some tips for people that drive. First of all, I'm always a skeptical person when it comes to being offered different apps to use to help you out. The first one I would tell you is probably Upside. Sorry, my nose itches. Sorry about that. But yeah, the first one I would probably suggest is Upside. It's nice to be able to, sometimes you have to go out of your way to hit a gas station anyway. And number one, it will give you directions to the nearest gas station. But if you do Upside, you might go a little bit further, but then you actually get cash back. Like, so if I am going to, I could probably drive, say, a mile and hit a marathon, for example. And I might pay $3.15 for gas, and I'm just throwing a number out there. But if I go on Upside, I might drive 3 miles to hit a Circle K or a Shell. We'll say Shell. I might pay like 3 cents more a gallon, but then I might be getting back 15 cents a gallon, which lately Upside's been really good if you find the right places. So I will actually go out of my way to try to hit that. And plus, I will do my job a little bit more because I hang up signs out in the country. As you can see, there's one right there. Yep, right there. And so I might drive 3, 4, 5 miles out of my way. If you're doing DoorDash or Spark, you're probably in your hometown. You're going to find gas stations all over the place. But you're going to go for the one with the highest price. Let's say you get 15 cents back a gallon. Let's say you go to Speedway, and you're scheduled to get 12 cents a gallon. You can use the Speedway app or whatever, put your ID in and get 3 cents back, and that'll reduce how much you make on Upside, but you'll get a cheaper version of gas, plus you'll get some on Upside regardless. I mean, if it's only 2 or 3 cents that you're getting on Upside, they're not going to give you anything. But if it's like 15 cents and you get 3 cents back, you're probably going to lose 5 cents a gallon, but up front you'll be getting 3 cents a gallon off, and then on Upside you will probably still make 7, 8 cents a gallon. So you're still saving yourself 10 cents a gallon. And usually for me, since I'm coming up to Christmas season, I'm just letting it collect. But I've cashed out on it several times, and it does give you cash into your bank account. It is legit. It does work. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, whether you're doing DoorDash or whatever, is the fact that, especially for my job, since I drive so many miles, I like to use an app called SimplyWise. I put some money into it up front, but it keeps track of all my receipts that I scan. There's a bunch that I don't, and that's just because I can get overwhelmed by receipts, and I just throw those in the bag at the end of the year for taxes. But I have my own way of doing all that. But yeah, SimplyWise is an app I really like. I pay like $60 a year, but it collects all my receipts. It's nice and categorized by month, and it's also categorized by amount, and whether you're doing a store, restaurant, gas. I mean, it's really good at separating and organizing. So at the end of the year, I could probably, if I had all my receipts on there, which I don't, I wish I did. But yeah, I've got hundreds and hundreds of receipts that I'm just not going to scan. And some days, like today is one of those days where I'm going to have like 8 or 9 receipts, and I might get those scanned, but 9 times out of 10, I'll be in a rush and I just won't get them scanned. But SimplyWise does a really good job of organizing those. So those are 2 major apps that I would definitely use for taxes and for that. For mileage, I just do a book. Oh, whew, I'm out in the country, and there's a lot of allergy stuff going on. Bless me. Sorry about that. But when you're driving, I would suggest getting a book, something like that. It's just a little notebook, but I have my day that I started. I have the starting mileage, ending mileage, and what company I'm working for. I have 3 companies I work for. I'm just kind of abbreviating each one, so that way it's just kind of a quick name. But yeah, that's all I put in that book. And then if I need a note, I'll go to the back, rip out a page, and do that. Do with that. And so that is good to keep track of my mileage. There's ways to do it with apps. I like this way because technically if you're driving, if I'm going to go someplace out of town after I'm done, then I include that mileage because I'm still on my way home. If I would take a major trip and then work, then all that mileage that I drive, even if I take a vacation, and let's say I work one day, all that mileage can be written off as taxes. Plus, if I work that one day, I also get money for my vacation. So it's a win-win, really. But yeah, that's 3 things. So Upside, SimplyWise, and there's a whole bunch of different apps for the receipts, just so you know. So there might be better ones than what I have, but I just really like how SimplyWise works. A notebook, and the other tip I'd give you is the fact that be good friends with a mechanic. Like, I had a mechanic I'd go to, I was constantly, and get him to understand that, you know, my on-demand job, my jobs are on the road, and, you know, it's just simple. Hey, you know, I'm going to be in on a regular basis. I'm just trying to find me a good mechanic. What can we do? You know, how can we get settled? The mechanic I'm with now, I had one mechanic I was working with. Something didn't go right. I didn't feel comfortable. There was a mess up. I think it might have been just a bad part. Not his fault. But then I found another mechanic that works with me better and is trying harder. And he also does a lot more for me and is trying to make sure that I'm up and going good. So I changed mechanics, and there was nothing wrong with the other mechanic. It's just this guy was just better. And, you know, I'm trying to avoid places like Midas. I'm trying to avoid all these side places. I try not to go to Pennzoil because they way overcharge for oil changes. And I think Pennzoil is a decent place to get an oil change. But if you really have an engine and you're driving a crap load, you're going to get a lot more information from somebody that's a regular mechanic versus someplace like a Pennzoil. And again, I kind of prefer Pennzoil. If I do something like that, then I'll go for Pennzoil over like Marilube or whatever other ones are out there. I tend to like Pennzoil. And that's a preference. But I'd rather go to my mechanic, because you're going to get a lot more cheaper deals with a steady mechanic because you're a regular customer, and he can also work with you financially a little bit better because it's a private versus a public mega corporation type thing. So those are some tips I got for when you go driving. And with what I do with these signs is I just keep moving. I don't stop. And that's the key to really making money, is to find something that works for you. Find something where you are going to be able to go as hard or as easy as you can, and get you something that's going to make you good money. You know, and like I said, Upside, it will give you a little bit, but, you know, 3-4 months with as much as I drive, I mean, I put on 50, 60, 70,000 miles a year, and I could even run even harder if I wanted to. I don't think I could mentally, but but, you know, with Upside, if you do all this driving and you're constantly filling up, even if you're not, you know, you just run to the store to get groceries and you have a factory job, Upside's really good for all of that. So I can't say enough for how much I like Upside. Now, if they upgrade to a point where it's not going to be worth it, or update, I mean, then that might be different. But right now, I really like Upside. And I think as a driver, whether you drive full-time, part-time, or just to work, Upside's really good. All right, folks, that's going to be all I got for you today, but that's my tips. Upside, I like SimplyWise, but there's a bunch of different receipts. Find you a personal mechanic. And I totally forgot if there was a fourth one in there, which I'm sure there was, and my brain goes dead. So, you guys be blessed, and we'll catch you on the next one.